I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Flag looks like it's leaning a little bit today. I'm a little lopsided.
You gentlemen seen the minutes?
Sure have. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, you
Well,
were.
it said you were.
Well, because he come in
I
at
know
the
you
end,
came,
but,
yeah.
yeah.
Make a motion to approve them.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You were just a little late, right, Gary?
Yeah. Couldn't find anybody here.
Nope. Do you want to do number 5, if Sue's here?
Yeah. You don't have nothing on paper though, do you?
I do have a letter on paper that I didn't print.
Okay.
Would you like me to go get that and come back?
You bring it up, we just usually initial it for the file.
You do? Okay.
So
Before we
moved.
leave for the day, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll second to accept her resignation.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How about a proclamation? Can you do that?
Yeah. We've been doing this for a few years now. Secretary of State asked us to do this. So it's just the proclamation that National Voter Registration Month is September, and today is actually National Voter Registration Day as well. So if you guys would approve that resolution, get that signed.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve that proclamation for National Voter Registration Day.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Which is today.
Yep, today's the voter registration day, but all month is we're supposed to encourage people to register to vote.
Hey, Barb.
Okay. I'd like to set a land use hearing for Ryan and Jennifer Rosnick for Tuesday, October 17 at 9:15.
So moved.
What was that date, please?
October 17th at 9:15. And I believe I sent out the stuff. Did you guys all get that
Yeah,
already?
yep.
Perfect.
Right here. I'll second that motion.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Can you do 10?
Yep. You can do the utility permit too if you want, Casey.
Yeah, sure.
13th to the 17th.
What day is that? 13th?
13th, October 13th through the 17th.
Thank you. Have we done them before? It doesn't ring a bell. Textile?
I want to say we did, but it's been a little bit, might have been last fall.
It rings a bell, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's not ringing in my bell cord. That's all right, no big deal. Make a motion that we approve that Class C liquor license, alcohol license guess is the way to put it. October 13th through the 17th.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's down at Spidell's, from what I can roughly see that
I
at.
guess so too.
Yes, not gonna happen.
Not answer me.
Call her and block it.
I get those, sometimes they'll come up like anonymous too, though, like, so.
And for a long time, I never got them, and now they're back at it again. That would happen
Good
to you
political
too.
stuff already. So I'll get into those things in the road chat, I'm like, this is right.
Mine's always burned.
Okay, we're at Genco, there it is. There, you wanna look at that?
I went out and talked to them yesterday.
Yeah?
What they're doing is, putting in a digester. And they got some, lines and stuff that they're in the right of way with is all it is. It's not a big deal.
They're gonna direct bore underneath the road, so they can hook the pump on the other side from her.
Yeah.
Is this the digesters you had indicated that we approved a while back? Okay.
Yep.
It's gonna be a while till they're done.
Have they poured any cement yet?
Yeah, but can't see what it is. I didn't go in there. They have poured some cement, but there's a lot of work to do yet.
It kinda shows it's going across the road.
Yeah, it says it's a 10-inch directional bore at 10 inches, manure line under 22nd Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 10-inch line.
They're not.
Wow, that's a big one.
See, they got one up at the intersection right now.
Yeah.
Biggest problem is, I've seen one of these up at, north of Cedar Rapids. There ain't much value in them anymore. It's tough to make it work.
Stuff to what?
Make it work. Now, this is big enough that that'll probably, big enough dairy that'll probably work. Like that one north of Cedar Rapids, it's 500 head dairy, and it wasn't big enough. It just, too much hassle.
Okay.
That one's.
So,
You need a motion to
Yes, I do.
approve them, that utility permit. I'll make that motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Been a minute, how have you guys been? Not too shabby?
Good. Yeah.
I'll go back to Myron, right?
Yep, I gotta scan it to Deb, because Myron's gone.
Yep.
That's right, he's a ways
Ron?
away.
Ready to go?
You're on.
It's in Hawaii.
So, you guys know, over the last, has it been a year? Year and a half?
Around that.
Between a year and a half, she's had Iowa City cases. So initially, she was down there more frequently, but then kind of figured out, correct me if I'm speaking any of this wrong, figured out kind of a system of only having to be down there, like physically when she needs to be, otherwise a lot of stuff by Zoom, things like that. So September 15th, so last Friday, one of our Iowa City folks left. And so temporarily, Sarah's going to be taking some additional Iowa City cases. At this point, last count, it was like 16 that she was going to take. Yeah, but it's like for like 3 months until we get somebody up and hired and going. So 16 additional cases. So I know we kind of had a conversation and I had a conversation with Jan as well to let her know that she needs to be here, you know, minimally 2 to 3 days a week and potentially more if she's got GA stuff going on, stuff with county, things like that. And I think a lot of them, I know I let talked to Jan about, like, I don't want to say it being unnecessary for her to be down there, but basically only having to physically be in Iowa City if, like, she has to meet face-to-face with somebody, or so that way it wouldn't pull her from the office. Same kind of things apply if her phone rolls over, voicemails go to her email, so she'll get them right away, so if anybody calls, the only issues would be the walk-ins, but she's got a system set up with Katie, basically just get the app, slide it under her door, so that way as soon as she's back in the office. I know I've been working with May and Jan. Jan is the Iowa City coordinator. The hope is 3 months to be able to, like, get somebody kind of in, hired, so then it would go back to reducing her Iowa City cases and then transition back to what she was doing. So we just wanted to make sure and kind of update you guys and let you guys know. So if you guys are here and you're like, where is Sarah? Why is she not here? That's kind of a temporary shift.
Just for my curiosity, is the region gonna cover her mileage?
They already do.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll be able to use the vehicle.
Oh, you're gonna, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be anything where I'll be down there 3 or 4 days a week. Right now, there's no space for me because they're remodeling that floor.
Yeah, so all the social workers got kicked out.
So they're working from home. And so I feel like a lot of my visits can be done virtually. There may be some people that may not feel comfortable with that, and I'm fine with that. My plan is to maybe reach out to like the Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services and see if maybe they might have some office space where I can hang out. That's where a lot of my clients are working with anyway, so that might be a benefit.
Well, and they have the conference room right across from Jan's office as well.
They do have that. So, but it'll get figured out. I have contacts of people and places where I can go, and if I need to be down there. I think I'm more nervous about the winter driving, and I'm just not going to drive in it, really.
Well, and that's why I'm hoping no more than 3 months before winter really hits.
Right.
So May, Jan and I meet Thursday to go over kind of case weighting and things like that, because we're changing some things up, so that way we can kind of figure out what are the social worker needs, right? Do we need to hire 1? Do we need to hire 2? And so that way we can get that figured out quickly and then get an ad out and kind of get the hiring process starting, so.
Since that's in Iowa City or Johnson County, the supervisors down there will have to deal with that, or is that the region dealing with?
No, the
hiring?
supervisors down there deal with that, because they're like us, right? They'll be a Johnson County employee. That would be, 100% region would reimburse, but they'd be a Johnson County employee. So Johnson County would deal with kind of all that. We just have to figure out regionally, like logistics, like what is it that the region needs? And then Jan would take that back to her Johnson County board. But yeah, ideally, I would like to have it, before winter hits, so Sarah's not having to do that kind of driving, because I don't like to drive in it, so I'm certainly not going to expect you to.
That's really my only concern, is that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, mileage-wise and all that kind of stuff, the fuel, that's already completely reimbursed 100% by the region. Any fuel costs that come in gets paid by the region, so you guys don't cover any of that.
When do you drive down there when you go?
It is down where the,
Not where, when?
when will I go?
Yeah,
It'll
is
just-
it in the morning or rush hour traffic?
That is my plan, because I don't drive at night that often anymore, especially out that way. So I'm gonna try to start my day right away in the morning, even if it's just a half a day, just so I can kind of boom, 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 knock all my appointments out one right after another, and then head back this way.
And something that Jan suggested, that I don't know if this is reasonable or realistic, is if we're going to say you have, I don't know, 5, 6 people that you're working with that you have to meet about, of trying to schedule them like all on one day, so that you
Yeah.
only have to be down there one day versus having to make multiple trips.
Yeah.
So that was something that she suggested, if it's possible to like get the conference room for a whole day, and then
Yeah.
you can get everybody wiped out that you might have to see.
Yep.
And so it's kind of a one and done.
Yep.
So that's, and they're, because I talked to her about the multiple days out of the office and how that then affects your ability to help the GA people and And so that, she's like, well, what if we did, so she was on board with that, because I said, the board's not gonna be okay with multiple days.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't do your Benton County stuff if you're gone. And there's the, you know, the region, county kind of stuff, but I don't want either one to suffer, do you know what I mean? And neither does Sarah.
And she
So-
understands that. Her and I spoke on Wednesday. I spoke with the gal that, the cases I took over, and then I also spoke with Jan that day, and she gets it, so.
If I may, this additional 16 cases, are you gonna be able to handle that workload?
Well, it's kind of funny because I used to have a caseload of 70 prior to the pandemic. And I said to my husband the other day, I'm like, I don't know how I did that, because now I'm up to, I think yesterday I counted 45 maybe.
Plus the 16 now?
No, that's
That'll
what
be
this is.
That's with-
45, yeah.
Okay.
So, like you can tell they're really starting to like pick up and,
Okay.
but,
And
yeah.
I can't believe they don't have somebody closer.
well, she thought I lived in Cedar Rapids,
I was gonna say,
so.
Lynn County should have been a lot.
Well,
worse.
and we've got one gal that covers all of Lynn County. And then
Yeah.
Sarah picks up, had picked
Of
up
those two.
Lynn County as well. And so.
Which would be closer than Iowa City.
So part of what we're doing on Thursday and part of what we're kind of shifting is right now, cases are not assigned based on weight, basically like how much time they take. So we're kind of coming back to the drawing board and going, okay, what does everybody have for cases? And how are they actually weighted? Like how much time are they actually taking? So if you've got a caseload that's like super heavy, right? Like there's a lot of stuff you have to do, because there's some cases that it's like, you only maybe have to update them once every 3 months, right? They're not super heavy, you gotta do stuff, but it's not. So we're looking at every single social worker and what does their case weight, what are their case weights, right? So that way it can be more evenly dispersed. So one person isn't drowning and another person is frolicking through the daisies, right? Because they might have 50 cases, but they only have to see them once every 3 months. And then, you know, she's having to see a case every day. So we're trying to kind of go back and go, okay, let's make sure that things are evenly dispersed so that it isn't too much for one person or another. And then, do we need to have more people, right? Do we need to move one person that maybe is closer versus having somebody, you know, like Sarah go all the way to Iowa City? So we're trying to take a look at that to make sure that people aren't traveling like that if they don't need to, if we've got somebody closer, if we've got.
Yeah, it would make sense, I mean, to have that Cedar Rapids, Lynn County person go there, maybe Sarah pick up a few
More Lynn
from
County,
Cedar
yeah.
Rapids, Lynn County.
Well, and I don't know,
But,
and you're gonna have to speak to this, Sarah, because I mean, I know you said that she thought you were in Lynn County, but I don't know why it got shifted from you versus her and why it didn't get like redone, right? Like,
I'm not sure, other than,
I wasn't part of any of that, so I don't
Cecilia
know.
does cover, she has those cases that go with the vocational vet program.
Okay.
Let me know, do you know which one I'm talking about? There's a program based out of Kirkwood, and so that other social worker has that load of cases, and that could be why too, which is fine.
Because yeah, so if they were looking at, if when Jan ran caseloads, and this is just a theory, if when Jan ran caseloads, and we're gonna say Cecilia at that point had 45, and maybe she had 25. You know, she might have looked at, well, I think Sarah's in Cedar Rapids, and she's only got 25 cases right now, because maybe somebody, you know, a bunch of discharge, whatever. Sarah's got more time than her, you know, and this was, again, pre-waiting, so we're trying to play catch-up, if you will, right, and try to kind of.
well, I mean, we don't really have a choice in the matter from what I understand. I mean,
Well, it was more just kind of that transparency, so that you
Yeah.
guys knew, so if you guys are in the building and she's not, you guys aren't like, where is she at, what's going on? Because I know, I don't even remember what brought it up, I was in here giving a report, and the decisions kind of had been made, and you were down there, and you guys
Yeah.
were like, what? And it's like, oops. So just kind of that transparency, so that you guys know, like, what she's doing, and that she is still able to kind of balance both.
Yep.
And if at some point it becomes problematic, I mean, Sarah and I have talked, if at some point it's an issue, like, then we'll kind of push back a little bit harder.
Like kind of the first of the year, I could see it being an issue.
Yeah, well, and that's where that 3 months we had
Exactly.
talked about, and I'm hoping it's before 3 months.
Sure. Okay.
So, but it's just for transparency, so you guys kind of know what's going on and know that if she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off, you guys don't know.
Well, and people's needs have changed since the pandemic. I mean, there's just a lot of sick people and a lot of, just things. And so the cases do take a little longer and.
How long, where do you live? How long does it take you to get down to Iowa City?
Usually, on a good day of traffic, it usually takes me about 45 minutes.
She lives here in
Close to an hour.
Benton.
Yeah, I live here in Benton.
Yeah.
The one, I mean, I will say, the only nice thing about the pandemic is it did allow for kind of those virtual stuff. So kind of the technology is caught up, so that way there is more of an ability to do it virtually versus having to always be there face to
Right.
face.
Yeah.
It would make a lot more sense to have somebody from Cedar
I
Rapids.
know. But hopefully we'll get that figured out in the coming weeks, but,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's scaled back significantly within a couple of months here, so. But just wanted you guys to know kind of what was going on.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Good luck,
Okay.
Sarah.
All right.
It's that letter, that resignation letter, your signature.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just got this for that Gmail source and an address.
Yeah, for the land use?
It's a new structure site. And then the DOT put a light box at Highway 30 and 21.
What about that?
I want to know anything
I don't know,
about it.
they wanted a new address for it. The DOT put a transportation lighting control box at the intersection there.
Well, I know it sure is nice,
I noticed that last week driving to Des Moines.
coming off, running down 21. You just don't hardly slow down crossing that Highway 30.
I don't slow down.
Well, it's smooth enough, you don't have to. So do you need this initialed on the back?
On the front, it just goes in the
Front?
file.
I see your printer goes uphill.
My printer what?
Goes uphill?
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah.
It was scanned in, and so it was operator error on the scanning part. Oh, stupid. I was standing sideways.
I got it.
Didn't get it.
I got it.
No.
He's almost there.
Thank you.
Oh, did you?
You gotta get Tracy's.
Oh, you're last. I thought you were the first one to sign it.
Easy does it, bud.
I'm all right. All right, thank you.
You're gonna hurt your back, right, Rick?
Don't do that. Jeez.
The budget amendment notice should be in the paper today, just FYI.
Did you get Grace's request in there too then, since
Yeah,
she's coming
but
today?
she's coming in, oh yeah, it's in that one. So I'll get the other departments that haven't been in to see you before the hearing will come in either that day or ahead of time. So you guys can formally approve it or not.
What day is that again?
October 4th, 3rd,
Fourth?
I don't remember what day it was.
Third?
Yeah.
Third, okay.
Which day?
October 3rd.
No, because the 3rd, you're going on the conservation tour, it's the 4th, right?
No, third.
Third,
Is when you're Going
Third is for the budget I got down here.
Tuesday.
Hold on,
Yeah.
we're going the 9th,
Oh,
On
that's
the tour.
following week, yeah. I have something else going on,
which is
so.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my other girls will be taking, I'll be at Riverside for a TIF training class with city clerks and, because I'll post that agenda too when it gets closer.
When is that, Haley?
Conservation tour.
You said it's on a Monday?
Monday the
I think
9th.
I got that.
Yeah,
She'll be sending out
Yep, she
there.
invited
I
it
think
to
I
department
got it.
heads.
I got that.
You're going, ain't you, Sue?
Yeah.
I've been on numerous ones. Be
I've been
prepared for the
I've been
bumpy
meaning to get out
ride.
to those places,
It
it'll
is,
be
it's
nice.
a bumpy ride?
In that transportation bus,
Yeah.
bumpy,
Noisy.
when you're going off on those gravel paths.
Oh, heavy.
It'll bring us back to the school days.
Yep. But it's good food too at the pizza on their brick oven thing.
Oh,
really?
yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
They're gonna have the doors on, building down at Hannah.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
It's coming.
Water had a lumber.
Water have
I
some
haven't been
bones in
down
it
there
this
since
morning, huh?
a week ago Monday. Last time I was down there.
They're working at the insulation and stuff inside.
Well, the only insulation we've got left to do is blown in.
I'm gonna take one of these and pass them around, that's for when we do the abstract.
Okay.
Thank you.
They pick these by random to go over them.
What?
They pick these by random, don't they?
That was the post audit, yeah. Yeah, and they picked our absentee precinct, which had two. I'd rather them pick the absentee precinct for that election rather than the big one, because that's
Yeah,
where the most
yeah.
ballots are.
See if they're there.
I think Mackie, she just messaged me saying that she is on her way, so I think she'll be in just a minute. Hey, Grace. Hi.
Hey Grace, cute dress.
Thank you.
Do you have other people coming too?
Yeah, I think Maggie had just messaged me. I think she said she would be here in just a minute.
Okay.
So,
reports?
You?
Well, but not gonna do it right now. I'll wait.
Okay, so you're still able to come to our meeting Thursday?
Yes, I am. I know that, Sue, the handbook committee meeting, is it okay? I don't know how long we.
Well, we didn't, it was under an hour before, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah. So I might be just minutes late to that.
No worries.
But,
I
yes.
might change ours over to courthouse since Sue's gonna be here.
Oh, okay.
But I'll send all that out when I send the agenda.
Perfect.
Let's talk after that and see. I don't want to inconvenience.
Okay. Unless you guys could start in there and then could swing over here.
Yeah.
Because we really probably won't have it.
It's okay.
Tracy, has the VFW moved out of the building? I couldn't remember the date that they planned on being out, but that's fine.
Yes. they're
So
gonna-
Conservation has keys to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Where did they go again? I forgot.
Out to
They
the
were-
American
To
Legion?
the regular Legion, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
They conjoined forces.
yeah.
Yep.
Which I can't say as I blame them.
And
when
what
they
the
have food out
consensus
there.
was, if you remember, I told you at the meeting, was the Conservation Board wants to drop that building back on us.
Yeah,
Oh, they do?
yeah. Yep. Just wondering as far as winterizing, if it has been or it will need to be.
I figured they'll do that, I'm hoping so.
Might want to make a note for your next meeting that it gets done.
Does that
Is it-
need to have the septic pumped out of there?
That's what I wonder.
Because
I'm sure it
it's
didn't have a
probably
lot of use, but
full in
yeah.
its small septic system.
Next month, so it's four weeks from this Friday.
Is there any concern about emptying the tank and having it heave?
And have what, pardon me?
Having it heave with the, you know, as the ground freezes?
No, you,
Like the order for how.
is it not gonna be used at all?
Walk in,
Uh-uh.
walk be dismissed.
We'll have it looked at, because if it's full and nobody's using it, at least pump it down. You can leave a little product in there over the winter.
Right.
If nobody's gonna use it, but if it's stuffed full, which I'm wondering about that, because you guys haven't paid to have it pumped, have you?
No, we wouldn't have.
Because it was
That's
under
it.
conservation care though for a while before the VFW even.
Oh, yeah, you might just want to have it looked at. Pop open the lid and see,
Just getting like the little thing.
put a stick in there, and if it's solid,
Had all the pens for the guest book, but no guest book, so.
get
It's
somebody
just
to
a
pump
lot
that
of
down a
like
little bit.
getting the little things together, but now that we're down to the wire, I feel like it's gonna go by really fast. For sure.
So with you being on the Conservation Board, you want to make a note?
Not
Sorry,
right after.
one more
If we
thing.
do it, we might try to.
And
have
if you're gonna
some
get rid of it, have them, if you think you're gonna get rid of the thing,
I don't know that
The
we're...
building,
See, we're
or
in
night.
Washington High School.
Sorry.
they're gonna
Yeah.
keep the building, you think?
If we do, it would be, sometime in December, I think around the holidays.
We gotta do this.
Done.
Sorry.
Yes. Okie dokie, so, I guess, I don't really know how this works, what all information do you need? You want me to just kind of say my piece and what I have? Okay.
Fire away.
Alrighty. So kind of the first thing that I wanted to go over is really just the concept of like cross coverage and or subcontracting. Since it is just me, I kind of have the state and then Buchanan County is our fiscal agent. They're kind of on me just like, hey, we need to have like a secondary person who's able to do your role, either in the event of a planned absence or an unplanned absence. Obviously, number one goal would to be to have someone else in the department. Obviously, I don't know if that's going to be possible or how long that will take. So why I'm here is I just kind of wanted to get a plan in place and have like a policy on the books for public health, either cross coverage within the county or subcontracting out to Virginia Gay. I gave the hospital kind of the example, hey, if I have to be gone for 7 days, A, is this something that you can do? And B, what would that look like in terms of cost? And I do have those figures. And then cross coverage within the county. At our last board meeting, we had kind of had that discussion between public health and environmental health. Obviously, that's got a lot of moving pieces in it, which we would then figure out. I can tell you in the case of Virginia Gay, if we were to go that direction and have kind of that policy on the books, then I can kind of get everybody off my back at the state saying, hey, we have something in place. In the instance that I would be gone for a whole week, 7 full days at 168 hours, by the math that they did, they would charge $1,248. And from what I would understand, that would just come from public health's budget, and that would just be a check written towards them.
What was that amount again?
Sure, $1,248, and
That was
And that's for what period of time?
assuming for the whole 168 hours, because they'd have to cover nights and weekends and all that kind of stuff. And that was assuming that they would spend about 4 hours on disease investigation, 5 hours answering the phone, 4 hours on other emails. That was for 16 hours of actual work was their estimation, plus the on-call time.
so, and I kind of budgeted the time kind of at the higher end. Obviously, every week is so different. I don't know if it would actually be 4 hours of emails, more or less. Kind of try to go on the higher end. But yeah, so that 7 full days, that would be including the on-call time that they're actually, spent working on public health. And so I do have that written out here if you guys need to see it. So that's kind of that option.
I'll give them.
As I say, I got a couple copies here. So that's kind of that piece. And then the other option would be that interdepartmental cross coverage. And that, I believe, would also look very similar. That would come out of public health's budget and be directed towards the department that would cover it. Again, that's got some moving pieces, including just a little bit of training that it would take from the state. And I have their manual here as well.
So from my understanding, when we talked at the board meeting, the biggest thing is disease investigation. So there has to be an actual person who has access to a queue. So we have to know which person is going to be covering that. Then they get trained. It takes an hour or two to get trained. And then if and when Grace is gone, they would get an email that says that there is this disease to be investigated. They call the person, and it's just reading a script. So it's not really like practicing medicine or anything. Anybody with, that type of administrative kind of stuff could do it. Our thought was, Virginia Gate is charging an on-call time to be available to do that. I know environmental health does do disease investigations with bad exposures and other things, and so they're already kind of in that concept of being available. Truthfully, environmental health was not wild about that concept of being cross-trained. But I think there are some advantages to keeping it within the county and knowing that we control, what happens if Grace is gone and all of a sudden the one person at Virginia Gate that's supposed to do this is also gone. We don't have control over when they take vacation or, double checking on those sorts of things. So that's kind of, the emails would be, hey, if she's out of office, she'll get back to you next week. But the biggest thing is that disease investigation, which the state is asking us to make sure that we have a backup for.
So those are kind of the two different, and obviously, like I said, ideally, we would be able to have another person in the department who this would, but it's just kind of in the meantime. I don't know if and when and how we would be able to have someone else in the department. So yeah, just for me, I'm a policy girl. I really like to make sure we've got something on the books that's been looked over and approved and signed, just on the instance of a what if. So that's kind of that piece. Anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So if you're gone for 2 weeks on vacation, are they willing to double this?
From what I can tell, this is, yes, because this was just more of an example.
I get that, yeah, 7 days.
Right, but no, in the instance of if it was 2 full weeks, and then I'm assuming the best way to do this would be like a, what's the word? Like a time check. Obviously, they'd be documenting on their end, and we would have to assume that they're being truthful, that we really did spend this many hours doing this and this many doing that. So yeah, this would be, if we had this in policy, yeah, whether it be a couple days or, if I had to be gone for an extended period of time due to illness or an emergency or something like that. And they had approached me, this was kind of already a discussion, and so when I reached back just about this individual piece, they seemed to be interested.
And you approached probably 10 different organizations?
Yes,
asking
I did.
For someone, and Virginia Gate was the only one that even...
People are not we're not a huge fan of
covering
this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are kind of those two routes. They look a little bit different. But yeah, just kind of wanted to get some input.
Grace does have 2 planned days off.
I do.
In October, so that's part of the desire to get something figured out. But we're also presenting a budget amendment, hopefully to have staff, so that an additional staff, so that this isn't an issue long-term.
You're looking at full or part-time, I presume then?
Sure, so yeah, so kind of for the budget amendment piece, so that would be a full-time person who would be in the department with me. They would obviously be trained in all of this when they, upon hire, I would make sure to get that set up with the state to make sure they've got access to everything. But basically, they would be working alongside me and have the same training that I do, and then we would work obviously on tasks together. I would do more of an administrative function, and they would be able to support just our various health promotion and community efforts. But that would be a long-term solution kind of to this issue, because if it were 2 of us, we would obviously be splitting, vacation, on-call time, that kind of thing.
The only thing would be if there was an illness. I mean, sometimes illnesses do go through.
Right, yes, in the instance that, yes, both of us were to be gone, or, something unfortunate would happen. So, yeah, that's obviously our kind of best case long-term person. And obviously, I believe Sue, would be helpful in, when we're kind of the hiring of that person. That's obviously like next steps. If that were to be approved, then I'm more than ready to jump right into getting that position posted. And so it's really kind of having the people who are interested and appropriate for the job coming and being interested in it. So that's kind of obviously the largest piece of kind of the budget amendment that we're asking for is that person. But
Have you got an estimate?
yes, so for we obviously, this person probably would not be hired until 10/1, so that is really only the remaining 9 months of the fiscal year. So that person, kind of estimating salary for the 9 months after October 1st and full benefits, that piece is about $69,000 and some change. There's a lot of numbers on here.
Yeah, a lot of small numbers.
A lot of small numbers, yes. I was kind of trying to fight with the printer to get it to get bigger. So yeah, kind of have to squint. But it's kind of that darker grayed out one, kind of second from the top, the 69,056.72. And those are very rough calculations in terms of benefits.
Could you tell me what that is again? 69 what?
69,056.
Okay.
72. And yep, that would be for that full-time.
That's for 9 months.
Yep, so yeah, that's the 112,845.82. That is including all of that part of here.
Okay, and so is this is.
That's yes.
Okay. The original budget, when Grace was hired from Virginia Gay, had nothing broken down as far as expenses. It was just a single line item, money to Virginia Gay essentially. And so Grace did put together a departmental budget, and so that's what you're looking at here. Do you want to explain a little?
Yeah, so yeah, I guess it's a little bit hard to read. I know it makes sense in my mind, but it's not always the easiest to look at. But really kind of the two numbers that you're looking at are the top one, which is the $43,789.10. That is including the replacement of funds from the budget that went to Virginia Gay because they billed in arrears. That's kind of the largest portion, is that those funds being replaced, and then anything that we would need for a new person. They would obviously need a new computer, or another computer, kind of that kind of thing. You'll see some physicals in there, all that. So that's kind of that piece, and then if you add that to the actual cost of the person at the $69,056.72, those two together is that total, the $112,845.82. I met yesterday with the kind of our grant coordinator for the grant that my salary and this individual's salary would be billed to. And that grant is about $62,000. So that money would come back to the county as soon as that's starting to be billed towards that. And that goes until the end of the fiscal year.
But the 112,845 is for 9 months.
That's for, so that's the 112,845.82 is for the 9 months.
Right.
And then, so there's kind of two ways to look at it. Kind of basically, if this individual's salary, I'll just say it's $69,000, we have the full $62,000 remaining in the local public health services grant. So that would continue to be billed for myself and this individual until that $62,000 runs out.
The biggest thing I think to know is that there is an $18,583.88 that Virginia Gay billed for this fiscal year for last year's services. So that came out of this public health budget. We weren't expecting that to come out of this year's budget. So that's a line item in this year's budget, but it won't be next year. So that $18,000 can help support a full year salary for the person next year. So I don't anticipate that the amount of the ask would go up next year with billing for 12 months of that salary, if that makes any sense, because we won't have that 18,000 in there.
Sure. But for 12 months, it'd be 150. At the 112, if that's 75% of a year,
No, the 112 is a lot of one-time expenses. That 45, 43 at the top
Yeah.
is like new employment physicals, new computer,
okay,
that kind of, yeah, onboarding
okay,
things.
okay. So
So-
realistically, it'd be the 69,000 is 75%, which would make it 92,000 for the full
Right.
year.
So, yeah, so it kind of balances
Okay.
out, whereas,
I see.
yeah, 'cause this year, yet has that Virginia Gay funds, and the next year, that won't have to be paid, but then it will be 100% of the salary, so
Right, okay. thank
kind of
you.
evens out nicely.
I think
And that's for
overall in
the-
your amendment, wasn't it, didn't I come up with like 70-something?
Yes, yeah, that local public health services grant is really nice, and it's already been approved for them that we can bill full salary, so basically, I will just bill that for myself and or an additional person I think they bill every monthly is when I would do a claim until those funds run out, and then that will just come as a check to the county.
So the 112 we need in our budget, but we can take 62 off of that. So what we're really asking for from the county is 74,202.
And that's like the kind of tiny number down, like right here. Yep, 74,202.
20204,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And so it's kind of a two-part reason for being here today.
Yes, yeah.
The more immediate cross coverage and then the budget.
Because, yeah, kind of what I was hoping for is, if we could just have a plan in place in terms of subcontracting, cross coverage. I can let the state know, I can let Buchanan County know, and then whatever I need to do on my end, whether that's working with county staff here to, get that training done, or, making sure we're good to go on everything for the hospital. Either way, I just kind of am looking for an answer, just so I know what I need to do moving forward.
Well, it looks like you're gonna have to go with Virginia Gay to start with.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah,
Gotcha. And then that we'll just work with them to make,
And we did put 2,000 in the budget for disease investigation cross coverage. You're seeing that, so then the next fiscal year, hopefully that would be able to go away in the budget if we had 2 staff members, but.
so if, for example, next week I would need to be gone for this full week, that's already kind of quote-unquote planned for in here. But then, if we're able to hire another person to start, October-ish moving forward, then obviously, that would go away in full, because that new person would take on that responsibility.
The 1248 for a week is solid.
1248, so, and that's with the instances of if they did exactly 3 hours of miscellaneous public health work, exactly 4 hours. So they have individual, like the rates, so for every hour that they're on call is $3 an hour. Every hour that they're actively working is $49.50.
I understand that, so like I said, if they're not doing anything.
Right, if they-
the on-call is $3
Is
regardless.
$3 an hour,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But
If
if they
24
don't-
hours went by and they didn't do anything public health, we would pay 24 times 3.
There you go.
Yep.
That's what I was curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did clarify that because I wasn't sure, when they said $49.50 per hour, we weren't sure if they were saying, well, 8-hour day, that's $49.50 times 8, and then on-call after hours. But they did clarify that they would charge the $3, even if it's the middle of the day,
Okay.
if they're not doing public
if
health.
they're not working. So that, and that was nice to have that laid out by them.
Okay.
So that we're all on the same page.
All right, you got two of us. What do you say?
Fine with me.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that, and I will get to work on my end to make sure we've got everything down in a policy and signed off and all that. So I will be getting in touch with them today.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a good question. If we do get a, like something drawn up for the hospital, does Ray need to look that over?
I would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I will loop him then in as well, make sure.
Look at the answers to whether we can advertise the plan.
No, I didn't.
Our board approved job descriptions at our last meeting, and wage ranges. I didn't know if we need to wait until the budget is approved, or if we can post and say the position and start interviewing and saying it will be pending approval from the board.
Yeah, because it won't be actually, we won't be able to do the journal entries until the budget hearing, but if you guys are approving their amendment.
I would not feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yep, perfect. Okay.
And the posting would run through me, correct?
Yes, and I'll get that information over to you. Yeah, we can get that out on LinkedIn and everywhere else. But yeah, that has already been approved and drawn up. So yeah, we're good to go as soon as, if and when we're able to, so. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, I appreciate it.
All right, we do our canvas.
Yes.
Okay. I handed out those big lists for you.
Yeah.
See, there's two people.
Those were 2 absentees. So total, this was for that public measure A for the special city school election in New Hall. There was 25 yes votes, 28 no, 0 undervotes, 0 overvotes, and we had 2 absentee ballots that voted yes for a grand total cast votes, 27 yes and 28 no. So if you're in agreement with that, I'll need you guys to formally approve it and then just signing on these abstracts.
Okay.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Don't you wish they all could be that quick?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll pass what you guys gotta sign. You'll sign it here, remember, in the order. How you guys always sign, and then I'll do the rest.
Only one?
Pull the dates out of here.
Good morning.
Hi, Ray.
Hey,
Go to the restroom.
yeah, that's fine. Am I early?
You're right on time.
Right back.
Hi, Lori.
On Saturday, I do not usually look that dirty.
Sweaty sitting.
Oh, no. I can't believe she saw me looking.
You're fine. You had Tyson.
Yeah.
Sleeve shirts and jeans. Really? I go home, I take off the suit and hang it up.
Yeah.
That's right, this one too.
So you always see somebody you know when you are not expecting.
I had forgotten I had to get some stuff for this big volleyball game, so I couldn't see this that I had to break between games.
It is.
You tired last night?
was exhausting.
Me too. I had all kinds of drama last night and just kept
Yeah,
going.
send that back to her. She might as well have it.
Joyce is telling me about your car
I'm
rolling
like,
into the.
I couldn't believe it, I got run over. What are you doing? Oh my God, I got an argument with his, pull his hair out. People. Yeah. So they were checking the police and stuff like that. They said, really, I don't have any more contact with the police department here, but I am at work. There's something wrong with this picture.
Okay, Ray.
All right, we need to go into closed session.
When do we go into closed session?
You gotta read
Read that verbiage off of that.
Pursuant to Iowa Code 21.51C, to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or advantage the position of the government body in that litigation. I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, yesterday was.
Hold on.
Hold it.
You gotta give me a minute.
Oh, God.
I gotta end all this.